If you remember, we started this journey with the Muladhara chakra, and then we went to the 2nd chakra, the 3rd chakra, the 4th chakra, the 5th chakra, the 6th chakra, and we saw that in each stage, in each step that we do, there are like different needs that, of course, need to be satisfied. If you don't satisfy these needs, if your body is hungry, if you don't feel fulfilled, if you don't connect with others, if you don't connect with yourself, if you're not able to communicate what you feel, if you cannot, feel the others, it's very difficult to reach the state that we want to talk about today, which is like kind of the spiritual chakra. And the spiritual chakra is about mainly awareness. But when we talk about spirituality is a word like love. That when we say, for example, love or spirituality, everybody has like a very unique meaning of it, a very unique description of it. So let's try to find first a common idea about spirituality, and then we can keep talking about this. Because, for example, if you're born in a Christian country or in a Muslim country or in a, I don't know, Jew country, and you ask, especially to the elders, what is spirituality, many of them would answer something related to God, because it's what they learn, it's on the culture, it's on the background, and it's right, it's not wrong. But if I ask, for example, my mom, what's spirituality, she would say that it's following God's will. Or if I ask my father, probably he would say something about going to the church. It depends on every person. But we need to find a definition of spirituality that we all can agree on. We all can be in, because, for example, if you're Buddhist and if you don't have a specific God, then this definition cannot, it's not valid for him or for her. So in one of my courses, the one that I received with Yamaguchi Sensei, in a course about Reiki, he told me about the spirituality in a way that I think we all can fit. Spiritual feeling is when you understand that you belong to the rest, when you understand that you belong to the trees, to the walls, to the people, to the rivers, to the clouds, to the planets, when you understand that everything somehow is linked, and it has a strong bond together. And when you understand and you feel that, you have a spiritual feeling, because then you don't want to hurt anything else, because you understand that hurting anything else is hurting yourself. It's not knowing this, it's feeling this. For example, if you see me now in the screen, usually I explain this in person, but in the screen is also working, and you see one person. It's just one person that I seem healthy. I'm healthy now. So it's like, okay, this is one person. You can find him, you can find me, something or something different, but it's just one. But if you're a biologist, if you look deeper, you know that what you're seeing is trillions of different entities that together work and make me. And in these entities, like many trillions, more than stars in the universe, working together. Some are sick in this moment, some are dying, some are growing. They have even some microorganisms in my intestines or in my body that help me to be me. And 99% of these, they don't know each other. They're actually quite far. The cells of my brain from the cells of my feet, for example, in their distance, they're like millions light years far. But somehow, for the cells of my foot, it's important that the cells of my brain work well, even though they don't know each other, even though it's like so tiny that one is, we think, is not important. Actually, the sum of all of them make me. And if almost all of them do their job and are healthy, me, the unity, I'm healthy. So my teacher told me, so we are these cells, the animals are these cells, the trees are these cells, and the universe is you. Somehow, this is a definition of spirituality that I think we all can understand and we all can accept. And then we don't have conflicts on gods or anything. Because when we say, okay, we reach like the spiritual chakra, for every person, it can mean something different. And in this case, I want it to mean something similar, because spirituality is not believing in something. Part of it can be believing in something, is knowing something, is understanding something. That's why when we talk about this chakra, we talk about awareness, clarity, but awareness mainly. Because believing, you can believe something, but when you actually see it, when you realize that something is this way, then it's like aha, the aha experience. And this awareness is part of this chakra, because we reach, if besides the first chakra, the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth chakra, it was into the polar wall. But now we reach unity again. And it's a powerful feeling when you understand that your well-being is linked to everybody else's well-being, with nature balance, with general balance, because then your behavior changes. And that's something that we actually all want to reach, because when we start living and we start surviving. But eventually, at the moment that we start thinking and making plans, our life has to have a meaning, because one of the worst things that can happen to us is like a meaningless life. When you don't have a purpose, even a goal, you feel kind of empty. You feel like, okay, what's my purpose in life? What's my place in life? And usually when this happens, there's a kind of a deep sadness coming out, because it's, and when you have like this experience, spiritual experience, that sometimes happens spontaneously and sometimes happens because you're practicing meditation or yoga or any there are like many spiritual practices, this joy comes out. It's like the joy of feeling that you belong. So even though when we talk about the Sahasrara chakra, we talk about purpose, meaning, awareness, spirituality, for me, the best word is belonging. When you understand that you belong to the world, when you understand that you belong to each other, when you understand that you belong to nature, to animals, to plants, to river, to clouds, then you don't feel isolated anymore. And when you don't feel isolated anymore, you feel good. Because one of the worst things is that when you feel that you're alone, isolated, and not connected. It's about connection. It's about awareness, because it's about understanding the rest of the chakras, seeing it clearly. It's like when you see this. And when we do things, when we, for the first time, join to a yoga course or a yoga teacher training or a yoga class, meditation class, a Reiki class, a Qigong class, even though we didn't know that at the time, we what we really wanted to reach, it was like this state when we feel unity. And actually yoga means unity. It's like when you feel that you are just a part, tiny part if you want, but an important part of everyone and everything else. This sense of universal consciousness is what the Sahasrara chakra is about, when you feel that. And if you remember, we have like colors, numbers of petals on the chakras, sounds, etc. But when we reach this chakra, it's like 1,000 petals. 1,000, it means like many. I think they said 1,000 because they didn't want to say 10,000 or 100,000, but it means like infinite, because every petal is one of us. And then when we talk about like colors or sound, even some people say it's a violet, some other people say it's white. Usually almost everybody agrees that it's like white, because white is all the colors together. And also the sound is actually not sound, it's silence. Because when there's silence is when you can actually hear the rest. So for me, this the most or the deepest spiritual practice that exists is always meditation, silent meditation. Because in silent meditation, you can actually connect with this. When you talk, you're just listening to your voice. When you're singing, when you're doing something, it's just this doing. But the seventh chakra is about 100% being connected and actually melting somehow your boundaries in order to get together with the others. Is when in Buddhism say the ego disappears, because what ego? Where is the ego when you're like the whole thing? When you're the whole universe, or when you're when you're just all nature, where is the ego? There's not even need of an ego, because in this state, everything is perfect. Everything works well. This, which is like a little bit difficult to grasp because we want to think about this. It's just a feeling. Sometimes it just happens. You're there and you feel that the boundaries of your ego, the definition of your ego just melts away. Then it comes back. It always comes back. The ego is strong, and somehow we need it, of course, to live here. But sometimes we have this deep experience of awareness and consciousness. And then in this moment, if you ask the question, okay, who am I? You don't have an answer. And that's when you reach the point of Sahasrara chakra. That's when you actually understand this connection. And we all live trying to connect with that. And if you check people's life, normal life or famous life, celebrities or historical people, there's always this behind it. The idea of belonging, the idea of connecting, the idea of immortality. But sometimes we look it on the wrong area. But when you connect this and you understand that you're part of the whole, of course, is immortal. This, the ego, of course, will die. It's like in 100 years from now, there will be not a single soul that exists now in the earth. All of us will be gone, and some other people will be here. But still, we will be existing in a different form everywhere. I don't know exactly how and where, but we will. This sensation that comes up suddenly from time to time, sometimes when you're just walking on nature, sometimes when you're just laughing, sometimes when you're meditating, sometimes when you're doing your asanas, this is the spiritual feeling. It's not about believing, it's about feeling that you're part of the whole. And today, with Yin Yoga and Reiki and meditation, we want to work with this, because at the end, our life, it makes sense when we have somehow a meaning and a purpose. You take this out, there's nothing. There's just emptiness, the wrong emptiness, and we want the right emptiness. Now, we'll start as always do. We'll start with the meditation, silent meditation. I don't want you to think about something specific. You don't have to think about something specific. You just need to be there and listen. Listen to your thoughts if you want. Listen to your feelings. Listen to the sounds outdoors, or the people who live with you make. It doesn't matter. Listen to it because you're part of this. You're part of the silence. You're part of the sounds. You're part of the people. You're part of the birds that are singing outside. Just listen to it carefully. If I always ask people when they practice meditation, just sit and be there. Doesn't matter if you think, because the mind thinks. It doesn't matter if you cry, because sometimes we cry. It doesn't matter if you laugh, or it doesn't matter if people make noise. It's like, just try to be there as mindful as you can.